So you're looking to travel around Southeast Asia for maybe 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, maybe 8 months, 9 months. This is the place to be. I'm going to be talking through my trip, my 6.5 months traveling around Southeast Asia, and everything that I did, the budget wise, the route, accommodation, food and drink, and all those fun activities. So here we go. So if you've not traveled before, Southeast Asia is probably the best place to start traveling, as it is cheap and it's a great starter place than going to somewhere like India, which can be quite intimidating, or South America. Southeast Asia is really easy to get around as long as you speak English, which you probably do as you're listening to this. Then you can get by it so easily because most people tend to speak English. So you're going to be all right. But before I get started, if you have a question which I don't answer or anything, just follow me on Instagram, send me a DM, and I will get back to you and I'll let you know what the answer is. If I know it, I'm not going to lie to you. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, like this video, subscribe, because I've got loads more videos coming to help you guys get traveling and getting out there after COVID. By the way, COVID haircut. Do you like it? Anyway, let's start with the route. The best route to get around Southeast Asia is, well, the first bit is called the Banana Pancake Trail, which you may or may not heard of. The Banana Pancake Trail is basically around Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia, which is like the 4 main countries in like the mainland Southeast Asia. And basically you fly into Bangkok, Thailand, you go around north of Thailand, you go around Laos, then into Vietnam, down Vietnam, and then into Cambodia, and then to the Thai islands. And this is called the Banana Pancake Trail. Do this. It is the best place. If you're a solo traveler, you will meet so many other people who are traveling around there, and you'll likely be able to travel with people for a long time because so many people do this route. It is like the most common route in backpacking in the world, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, from the Thai islands, I recommend you flying to the Philippines. The Philippines is like nowhere else. There's thousands of islands, and it is beautiful, and definitely recommend going there because it's not as touristy at the moment, but it's gonna blow because this place, white beaches everywhere. You almost get bored of those white beaches. From the Philippines, I recommend you fly into Indonesia, into Jakarta, and then travel along like the bottom islands of Indonesia through Java, Bali, Lombok, and Flores, which I spent almost 3 months in Indonesia, and I could feel like I could spend another 6 months there because it is stunning. Indonesia is more than just Bali, but Bali's nice. Still go to Bali, get that Bali experience which you're dreaming of. I know it. So from Indonesia, fly into Malaysia and Singapore. Not as many people travel around Malaysia, but it is an amazing country. I only went to Kuala Lumpur, but there are other places that you can go which are supposed to be really nice in Malaysia, like Penang and Langkawi. There's also the Perhentian Islands. It's a cool place if you want to scuba dive and all that stuff. Then the best place to finish is probably Singapore because it is such a big airport and a stunning place. It's got like a botanical gardens in there, so check that out. Singapore is amazing days. You just spend about 3 or 4 days in Singapore, but it's a great place to finish your trip because from Singapore airport you can literally fly most places in the world. It is a great transport hub to get around the world. If you're going home or going somewhere else, get yourself to Singapore and get yourself out, or you probably want to stay by this point. The time to do this route is probably at least 6 months if you are doing that full route. But if you were just doing the Banana Pancake Trail with Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia, you can do that in easily 2 or 3 months. But if you want to do it all, probably 6 months, at least looking towards 9 months. But of course, you could go on for a year or 2 years. There's always more places to explore. So now let's have a look at the accommodation. Where are you going to stay every single night? On the floor? No. The best place to stay is hostels, especially if you're solo traveling, because that is the place to meet people. Hostels is the place to be. That's where all the young people are, all the wild, young, free, energetic people are, and that's where you want to stay. although it's not always the cheapest places. I found using Agoda, Booking.com and Hostelworld that sometimes staying in guest houses or private rooms were actually cheaper than staying in hostels. So do your research, see what's best for your budget and all of that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is transport. So there's lots of ways of doing it. You could spend hundreds of pounds flying everywhere, or you could go super local and make it really, really cheap. It just depends on your budget and the amount of time you have. If you're taking flights, every place you go is going to get so expensive, but there's always a cheaper way of doing it. If you take local buses, local trains, you can get around Southeast Asia for so cheap. One place which is kind of expensive though is the Philippines, as you can take ferries, which are still fairly expensive, but flights is the way to go around the Philippines because there's so many islands and you've got to get across them. But you can get around to most countries just through buses, trains, all that kind of stuff. So go local if you want to save money. A free way of getting around Southeast Asia is hitchhiking. I did this a couple of times and it was actually really fun, even though I had to wait quite a while. So my number one tip of when you get to a place is rent a moped, because it is the best way to get around wherever you're staying and see places not just in the touristy hub, and see people, see houses, see everything around rather than just the tourist attractions. Get a moped, get a driving license and you'll love it. Always get a moped if you can drive. So the next topic is food and drink, getting that alcohol. Okay, so food, a lot of people are scared of trying the street food because they think they might get ill. You might get ill. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had food poisoning, I think three times in my 6.5 months in Southeast Asia, but I still don't know whether it was from the street food, whether it was from a restaurant. You're likely to get food poisoning at least once if you're going on a long trip. It's almost inevitable, but don't let that stop you trying the street food, because normally they are cooking it right in front of your eyes, and so it's normally safe. The other thing is, if you are scared, don't eat meat. Meat is what's going to give you some sort of diarrhea or something, so just skip the meat and you'll be all right. But street food is the best way to try the local food. Imagine not going to Vietnam and not trying any of their local dishes. Like, you've got to. And also, if you are going to try Western food, which you might want to if you're so bored of eating that cultural, like local food, it's not as good and it is more expensive. Unless you're in somewhere like Bali, where there are so many Western chefs and stuff, then try and stick to the local food because it is better and it is cheaper. Alcohol wise, cocktails are expensive, but beer, especially local beer, is so much cheaper. One of my beers in Vietnam cost me 20 US cent. Do you know if that is a dangerous thing when a beer, like a Coke can, costs 20 cent? Because I could get drunk of about, $4 US, or maybe less than that, depending on what I'm doing. The other thing to try is the local spirit. Like in Vietnam, you can drink Vietnamese rice wine, which is disgusting, but it will get you drunk and get you having a good time if you want to do that. So try it. It's cheap and it's strong as. You're going to have a wild night. So the last area is budget. A lot of people ask me about budget, about every single country, how much they could spend, how much they should spend. And to be honest, it varies so much. But don't worry, I've got an answer for you. So I actually wrote down how much. I recorded everything I spent in each country and how much I spent in each country. So I've kind of got a rough budget per day of what I spent in each country. So starting in Bali, you've got to be a bit more lenient because it is so touristy. You're going to spend about £30 a day. You can spend less, you can spend more, but this is what I kind of recommend. Then in other parts of Indonesia, you can actually get away with spending only £20 a day. In Vietnam is a cheap country, only £20 a day. In North Thailand, you can spend just £20 a day, but in southern Thailand, you're going to spend more because it is more touristy at £30 a day. The Philippines, you're going to spend £30 a day, because you got to take flights and ferries to a lot of places, which makes it a lot more expensive. The food is cheap, but those flights and getting transport around the country is what is expensive. Cambodia, I spent £30 a day, which I was quite surprised about, but it is quite touristy now with Angkor Wat, which it costs like at least 30 US. I'll check that. Cambodia is becoming a more expensive place to go to. In Laos, I spent £25 a day, which is pretty decent in between, but it's awesome. Go to Laos. Not as many people go there, and it is beautiful. So that is all my tips on Southeast Asia. Again, if you've got any questions, anything you want to know, any video suggestions, then please message me, DM me, leave a comment, give this video a like, and I will get back to you or whatever. Anyway, that's the video. I will see you next week, next Sunday for another one. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm just going to wing it, you know? Okay, see you then. Bye.